Headings destroy the whole text from time to time because you have a break in the middle saying that this is something else. That's what the headings are there for. Okay. You see that I have a little bit different here, and that's because sometimes we allow Georgia also in the headings, but not in the title, the first page, the cover page. But you can use Georgia in the titles too. But Arial is so much better. Okay, so I don't know if you can see the difference, but can you see the font here, the difference? Can you see what the difference are? Or differences? So what this have is something called serifs. And Arial had no serifs. They only, like, nothing extra. Only the letters is like written in a style where it's only the letter, nothing extra. But Georgia and Times, they both have serifs. And when you read a body text, you don't want to be without these serifs. And I'm going to show you why on that board. Okay? So when you read, say new, when you read, you don't read it letter by letter. So what you do is that, I think this is how it is done. What you do actually is that you read like this. And you can actually see what it says anyway. Isn't that interesting? So our eyes does not read letter by letter. It only reads the top and the ends in the text. And therefore, that's the reason why you shouldn't use Arial. You should use something with serifs, because it makes it easier. So when you see something, when you read something, I guess that this stands out the most. And there are two reasons. First of all, that you have the serifs, and secondly, that even though it's 12 points, this is bigger text. It's bigger in the font than the other one, which actually tends to Times New Roman to look smaller and harder to read because it gets too compact. Whereas the other one looks a little bit easier. And if you think about the text that is very cluttered, you tend to look at it and like, no, it's too much, I can't read this. But if it's a lot of air in the text, you can actually read it and think, oh, this is rather okay. It's easy to read, easy to follow, and so on. And I said, this might sound very trivial, but it's very, very important when you write text and read text. And also, one of the things is that the spacing, the air, you can absolutely have one line spacing with Georgia, but not with Times New Roman, because it will be too cluttered again. So depending on which one you choose there, KTH has the Georgia, but if you use Times New Roman, think about the line spacing too. So that actually affects it a bit. But don't take Georgia and 1.5 line spacing, because then it would look like it's nothing there. So that looks very strange. But you can elaborate to see yourself how this works. Okay, so here is a little bit different in line spacing. So I give you a second to read both. See what you think. What do you say?
It's hard to read the one at the bottom. Too much space.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's hard, but it's slower.
It's slower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's slow, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, you see exactly where it stops and where it ends. Yeah, absolutely. Did you think the opposite or the same or? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now you see you can speed up the reading just with putting different line space. Isn't that interesting? I have also another. This is the Helvetica and Garamond. What do you think?
I think the other one is easier and more clear to read.
Yeah, this is a little bit small. But if you go back and think about what you thought about this text and the other one, do you remember how it felt to read this one and read the Arial? Or was it okay to read Arial? You are actually kind of used to this text because you read it on the websites. So therefore you can speed it up. But and this is absolutely not the best font to use. But again, I just wanted to show the difference, how easy it is just to choose fonts, and it really affects you. And this is the one they want you to use.
So we have to use that in our report?
I don't say that this is a 1.5 line spacing. I don't say that you had to use it. But we prefer this while you are writing, because then we can make some notes in the text. But in the end, you can drag it together and just have one line spacing. What do you think about this?
Too much space.
Yeah, it's a lot of space. You don't need it. Absolutely. Okay, as I said, it sounds very trivial, but it's fun to show this because it gets you a new idea of how things works. Okay, I've already said this with the starting and the number and everything, and this is just a reminder for people who aren't here, so they know how they should start with everything. The most important is it starts with the introduction and not earlier, because you don't know how many times I get a thesis that starts with the first cover page and 1. So think about that. Use it at the introduction. And the table of figures, you can have 2 different ways of doing that. Either by having 1 and further on. So you start with 1 and then you have 2 in the thesis. Or you can use the chapter and it starts with 1. If you don't have too many figures, you use this one. Because if you only have 3, it's useless to do this. You just number them. If you have a lot in the same chapter, you should use this one instead. And then you should be, of course, consequently using these things. So you can't just start it in the chapter 2 and do 2, 1, 2, 2, and 2, 3. It has to be throughout the whole thesis. So do the same. But so this is only if you have a lot of figures. Otherwise, this is not needed. Okay? So that is with the numbers. Okay. So that was a little bit about reading and thinking about the topography and everything. So what kind of language are you going to use? When you write a report, what kind of language do we use in a report?
Formal.
Formal language. What does formal language mean?
No subjective things.
You don't give your own ideas in the material. It's always coming from somebody. Yeah. So you don't say that I think or we think or we like or you can't even use we. You know that? Not I, not we.
But do you do that in the discussion?
In the discussion, you can absolutely tell what was the things that you should have maybe done instead, or discuss if you could have improved the material, or if there's something that needs to be improved, or if there's something that was good that you want to sort of emphasize, and that it really worked well, the methods you used, and that's in the discussion. And then you can absolutely give your own opinions. Mm-hmm.
Can you do it? Well, you cannot do it in result. Slutsats.
No, no. Just from the everything in the thesis must also be covered in the thesis, even the conclusions. So you can only conclude from what you did. But in the conclusion you can have a discussion part. Yeah. What more is it with the kind of language? So objective was one thing. Have you heard about writing in an aristocratic way? You have never heard about it? You have heard about it, yeah. So that means that you are